you for coming along this evening. So if you've been sitting down, I know some of you have been at the computer all day and you want to just give your lower back a little bit of a massage out by bringing your knees in towards your chest and just having a little rock out side to side, or you can circle the knees round. You can have a little massage out through your lower back and across your buttocks. That can feel quite nice if you've been spending a lot of time in front of a computer today. When you've had a little bit of movement there, just going to mute everybody. When you've had all of the movement that you need to want to make to feel comfortable around your lower back, just bring your feet down to the floor. We'll have the knees pointing up towards the ceiling. So feel free to bring your feet a little wider apart so your inner knees can knock together to make a nice V shape if that's more comfortable for any tightness in the back today. Hands just down alongside you, or a hand on the chest or the belly if you're feeling a little bit disconnected with your breath. That kind of just gentle touch of your hands sometimes brings you into your breath. And I was thinking about change over the last few days, and some of you who normally come to my morning practice, you've had to change your routine, you've gone back to work, hence this evening class being on now. And there was a lovely article in the I newspaper about planning and coping with change. And I'm just going to read you a little bit of it and let that maybe resonate with you throughout your practice today. So the journalist wrote, "It often feels as if we're in a planning-obsessed culture. We compulsively plan our diets, our social lives, our holidays, our fitness regimes, and career trajectories, either on apps or in expensive notebooks. Instagram fetishizes," I can never say that word, "the art of organization. It flaunts pictures of diaries next to flat white coffee, #planning. Career coaches have become therapists for the ambitious, encouraging us to plan by the hour, the week, the month, the year. We're told to have vision boards, to cross things off our bucket list, to line up our goals like pins in a bowling alley and spend all our energy and money trying to knock them down. But now planning has been cancelled. Our fascination with planning is misguided, and not just because of coronavirus, but because we're simply not in control in the way we like to think we are, however much we believe we could plan to the contrary. The people who excel in times of change are the ones who let go of the certainty of old plans and make something out of the rubble. Our only way through these times is let go of plans altogether. Now, to be prepared is not to be well planned. It is to be malleable and adaptable and allow ourselves to be swept along with the current wherever it may take us. And so that's what we're going to really try and embody during the practice today: adaptability, malleability, really attuning each posture, no matter how familiar, to how and where the body wants to meet that posture today. So if you're practicing in the morning and you come back in the evening, maybe you'll find that even though it's a similar class, you need to make some subtle changes in accordance with how the body has shifted throughout the day. So let's just attune ourselves to our breath, and our breath can help us anchor ourselves more firmly as we face these waves of change. So if you have a hand on your chest and your belly, you can gently feel that ebb and flow of your breath, like so many waves washing onto and then retreating from a shore. And let that breath be the guide throughout the practice. When the breath becomes a little bit ragged or jagged at the edges, we've maybe got to adapt the posture to something maybe less taxing, more restorative in nature than energizing. Softening your face, really trying to let go of the day. Sometimes at the end of a day, we've got to just allow a few minutes to arrive at our practice, especially if it's the first time we've been doing our practice at home in a while. Dropping out of mummy mode, wife mode, worker mode, and just coming back to that sanctuary of your mat. So it's a good all-around practice today. Lots of adaptations that we can make to meet the body where it is today. So we'll start with the shoulders, just gently warming up. So when you're ready, we'll bring the feet just hip width apart. And let's take the arms back above the head in a really wide V shape, a really nice expansive V shape there. So you can allow the chest to open, but just allow a little bit of softness in the shoulders. Softness in the elbows there. Just begin to breathe openly and expansively, maybe for the first time today, into your chest. Okay, take one more inhale there. And as you exhale, we'll cross the arms over the chest. So one hand just comes to the opposite shoulder. And then as you inhale, we'll take the arms back in that nice wide open V. And as you cross the arms, this time, can you bring the other arm on top? You might get yourself in a bit of an arm tangle there. So let's go with that little flow, just to begin to work into the shoulders. So as you inhale, the arms open. And as you exhale, we change arms each time, crossing the arms gently in front of the chest. Let's do a couple more like that. I always find that one side, one arm is much easier to coordinate and be in control of than the other. So here's our first adaptation. So we can continue just to do that gentle opening and then crossing of the arms. Or this next time, as you inhale, the arms come back. And as you exhale, you bring your knees to your chest and bring your nose towards your knees. You'll come up into a little ball. And as you inhale, the feet come down, the head comes down, the arms come in that nice wide V. And exhale, either hugging knees or crossing the arms over the chest. Let's do a few more like that. So again, adapting the posture, you can chop and change. You can alternate hugging the knees with crossing the arms. Seeing how that feels. And when you're bringing the knees up towards the chest, you can always keep your head on the floor. Again, lots of adaptations that we can do. Let's do twice more of whatever is working for you. Head down or nose towards knees. I make this the last one. So where we'll meet are your knees hugged in towards your chest, but let's bring the head down onto the floor and have a little rock from side to side. Again, coming back to that gentle massage out through the back. And then keeping one hand on each knee, let's make that rock into a little bit more expansive a movement, just circling round the lower back there. So pushing the knees away from you and gathering them in. Do a few each way, so we're just feeling that easing out of tension around the lower back and the tops of the buttocks there. And then when you've just released through the low back, we'll bring the feet down to the floor, reaching both arms up towards the ceiling this time, palms face inward, about shoulder width apart, and begin to reach up towards the ceiling so you feel that your shoulder blades are lifted from the mat. Take a nice inhale, and as you exhale, keep the arms straight, but drop your shoulder blades back down. So as you inhale, we reach up, shoulder blades peel from the floor, and exhale, drop them back down. Arms stay straight. So it's like you're a puppet master, pulling you up, and then suddenly the strings have been cut. Let's do one more. So reaching all the way up, and then dropping down. This time we'll keep both shoulder blades firmly on the mat, but just bring the arms out shoulder height. Lovely. And try and press the thumb edge of your hand down into the mat. So you're almost trying to take the little finger edge of the hand up towards the ceiling. And when I do that, I always feel I've got to kind of snuggle my shoulder blades down the back a little bit so we're open and expansive through the chest. And let's just begin to just turn the head from side to side. Slowly looking towards alternate thumbs. So we're just releasing any tension from the neck, beginning to bring that rotation up towards the very toppermost reaches of the spine. And when the head comes back to center this next time, we'll pause and start that little tick-tock motion with the knees. So as you exhale, we'll tip the knees one way. It really doesn't matter which way you're going, and use an inhale to bring the knees back to center. And then the exhale just tips them over towards the opposite side, and the inhale brings them to center. So let's just continue with that. And if you want to add that little movement of your neck, so as the knees tip one way, so you take your gaze in the opposite direction. And we can make another adaptation here. Again, being flexible in our practice, so you can keep your feet on the floor so that twist is kept more down towards the lowermost reaches of your spine. If you want to bring that twist higher up, bring the knees to your chest, and then we continue that little rock from side to side. So you might find if you're bringing your knees up towards your chest, your feet lifted from the floor, it requires a little bit more core strength and stability to keep the shoulder blades more or less imprinting into the mat. And you maybe feel that rotation just coming up a little bit higher up into the spine. Let's do one more each way. But no one had a big lunch. I was debating whether to have a banana at 5 o'clock. Oh, is that sensible? And then when the knees come back to center, let's pause. Give them a little squeeze once more. Just loosen off through the back. And then widening the knees, keep the big toes pointing towards one another, sliding the hands down your shins towards the tops of your ankles. And try and bring your heels down towards your bottom. So it's a little pulling down on your shins, your ankles. And imagine that your lower back is trying to spread into the mat. Almost like butter on hot toast, just releasing any tension from the back. It might not get down there. It might not quite touch, but just envisage that tailbone lengthening towards the top of your mat there. Lovely, just take a couple of breaths there. Really nice one, simple one, just to release tension from the back. And then we'll cross the ankles, keep the knees wide, and have a little rock up and down through the length of the spine a couple of times. If there's space, making sure you don't hit the coffee table before we roll all the way up to seated. Lovely, coming to face me. Ah, you see, now you can't sneak away because there's not many of you. I can keep an eye on you. So if you want to pop a cushion onto your bottom or stretch the legs out in front of you, feel free. It's no problem at all. So sitting up nice and tall, coming back to that little arm flow we did at the beginning. So as you inhale, let's lift the gaze and take the arms up into that lovely wide V, maybe a little heart lift. And as you exhale, cross one arm on top of the other, chin to chest, trying to keep shoulders above the hips. So as we inhale, we expand and open, maybe lifting chin, maybe a little arcing of the body back, and then exhale if you can, other arm crosses on top. Again, it's quite hard to do, isn't it? Inhale. And exhale. So a lovely one to open through the chest. So we'll make this the last one. So inhaling, opening the arms out wide on the diagonal. So the next time you've got one arm crossed on top, it really doesn't matter which. Drop the chin down towards your chest. And imagine you've got a heavy velvet cloak around your shoulders. So you're just drawing the shoulders down. Lovely. Have a little peep at your arms. And just make sure now, you've just got your right arm crossed on top. So slide it just so you've got your right arm on top. And then we'll lift the chest and just bring your elbows forwards, hands on the shoulders, lovely. And we'll start to do a little twist from side to side here. So your head is following the movement of your torso. And we're keeping the elbows roughly level with the shoulders. So that right arm is on top. Twisting from side to side. The next time we take that twist towards the left, right hand comes across to your knee or your thigh, and let's bring the left hand behind you, just quite close to your sit bone, so you can maybe come up on those tented fingertips and press the floor away, so you're really getting that sense of lengthening up through the spine, rolling that left shoulder back, and maybe taking the gaze over that back shoulder. And again, just mirroring that template we did on the floor, let's, as you inhale, maybe turn the head slowly and look over that right shoulder. And as you exhale, bring the gaze back, maybe looking towards the room behind you, wall behind you. So as you inhale, so you're scanning the horizon. It's a slow move, so we're not stretching out the neck, but just for the workers amongst you who again have been sitting over a computer, let's wring out any tension from the upper body slowly and smoothly. And the next time that we're looking towards the left, we'll pause there, keeping the right hand where it is. Let's stretch that left arm all the way up towards the ceiling, pushing that left knee down as you reach the arm overhead. And let's try and roll the chest up towards the ceiling, and just that gentle pressure, keeping that left thigh down so the knee doesn't pop up towards you. Lovely. And then keeping that arm up, we're going to lift the body up so that left arm is reaching up. And coming into eagle arms. So again, we're going to hook your left arm over the right. And if you can, we'll add that little double wrap. So bringing the palms together. If that's not for you, just cross at the elbow. So this time you'll have your left arm on top. Lovely. So as you inhale, let's lift the elbows away from the chest. And as you exhale, a little dip forward, elbows coming towards the navel. So as you inhale, we slide the elbows forwards and up. And exhale all the way back down. Lovely. So just once more, inhaling up. So we've got the left arm on top this time. And exhale. Lovely. So lifting the elbows, but releasing the hands. So once more, we can bring the hands onto the shoulders, but this time we've got the left arm on top, and we take that little twist. So we've got the left arm on top this time. We're taking that little twist, head following the arms, wringing out through the midsection, and then we'll twist to the right. So this time the left hand comes onto the knee or the thigh, and the right hand comes behind you. Again, you might be on little tented fingertips for height, just so again you can elongate through the spine. And then adding that little head turn. So as you inhale, we turn the head, body still twisted towards the right, and exhale, we look over that back shoulder. So inhaling, so the chin stays roughly parallel to the floor. Lovely, we keep it really slow so we don't endanger a little vertebrae in the neck. Let's do one more. So the next time that we bring the gaze back towards the right, we'll pause. So this time it's that right hand that we reach up and over, gently pressing that right knee down, so we're keeping the sit bone lifted, sit bone dropping down, and we're lifting up through the waist and opening up some space in the top of the hip there. Beautiful. And then coming back through center, reaching that right arm up to the ceiling. And this time we'll come into those eagle arms, right arm wrapping on top, knowing that you can always adapt that and bring your hands onto your shoulders. Inhale, lift up. And as you exhale, we take that little tilt forward, elbows dropping down towards your navel center. So we slide the elbows forwards and up. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, and then we round so you get that lovely separation between your shoulder blades. Once more, inhaling up. Lovely eagles. And then come down. This next time, let's release into that lovely wide V. Beautiful. Bring the hands down in front of you. I'm going to roll over my feet to come onto all fours, but if you need to adapt to that, then we'll make our way onto all fours. Hands under shoulders, or taking them a little wider apart if that works for you today, if the shoulders feel particularly tight. Knees under hips. So let's come into familiar territory with our cat-cow. So as you inhale, we drop the belly. Roll the gaze forwards. Keep pushing into your hands so we're not dropping into the shoulders. And then angry cat, tuck the tailbone under and drop the gaze. So just roll with the breath now. Adapting that, taking the hands wider apart if the shoulders feel tight. Lovely, getting that delicious sense of opening up through the chest. Front seam of the body stretching as you inhale. And then spreading the shoulder blades as you exhale. Let's do just once more. And then we'll start to build our little flow. Sorry, sometimes you hear a little bit of noise. I've got a railway line behind me, so sometimes the trains go past. So we'll come to a nice neutral spine now. Hands underneath the shoulders if you've taken them a little further apart there. And bringing a little bit of balance into our flow now. We're going to straighten the right leg back behind you, lifting hip height, and the left arm comes in front, upper arm level with the shoulders, palm facing in, take an inhale. And as you exhale, we'll bring that knee and the elbow together and dropping the gaze towards your knee. And then look forwards as you inhale and extend arm and leg. And exhale, squeezing everything in towards center. Lovely. It's very hard for me to check you're doing this okay and stay level myself. Now, if that's too much for you today, you can bring the hand down and just work the leg. So this next time, let's keep arm and leg extended. Keeping the gaze forwards, take them out on the diagonal. So a little bit of bringing your navel up towards your spine like a press stud. Lovely. We've got the option to bring the arms and leg back, just reaching forwards and back, or bending that back knee, turning that left palm away from you, seeing if you can take hold around the top of your foot or your shin, and then push your foot or ankle into your hand and try and lift that back knee a little bit. Taking the gaze forward, so just take care the head isn't dropping there. Beautiful, so we're in a nice opening through the chest. And then slowly, slowly, let's bring the hand back down, the knee back down. Let's tuck the toes under, build our flow, knowing that you can stay with a cat and a cow if that works for you tonight. Or inhale, let's come into that cow pose, dipping the belly. And this time as you exhale, let's push the hips high and grow up into a downward facing dog. Inhaling back down onto all fours, dipping the belly, taking the chest forwards. Exhaling up into that downward dog. Let's do one more of those, knowing that you can, again, adapt and modify this, alternating maybe between cat and cow or cat and dog. Or as you bring your knees down, let's see if we can add on. This is strong in the arms and the leg. So see how you go. Right leg, same leg as before. We take the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling. So the leg is bent, knee roughly level with the hip. Take an inhale, three-legged cat. And exhale, push up into three-legged dog, trying to keep the weight even through the hands. As you inhale, lower that left knee back into your three-legged cat. And exhale into your three-legged dog. So knowing that you can come back onto hands and knees and do your cat into dog. Or last time with me, so we push that leg all the way up. And let's all meet, just extending that right leg back behind you. Have a little circle out through the foot. You can do this from all fours as well. And then bringing that foot all the way back down onto the mat. And lowering back down onto hands and knees. Lovely. So let's take that little sequence on the opposite side. So left leg this time slides back. And right arm reaches forward. So palm faces in, thumb up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale. And exhale, we'll squeeze everything strongly towards that midline. And then look forwards as you inhale, extending the arm and the leg, shoulder and hip height, and then we squeeze everything in. Beautiful. Lovely. Trying to take the gaze forwards on an inhale and then lowering the gaze towards that incoming knee. And then the next time we've got arm and leg extended, we'll pause there, firming up through the belly, take the limbs out on that diagonal, a little bit more challenging for balance. Lovely. And then come back through center, either stay there, bringing the hand down, just working the leg, or bending that back knee, and see if you can take hold around the top of the foot or the ankle, and then again, lift that left knee, lift the chest. It's like you want to push the foot into your hand, and your hand gives a little bit of resistance there, so you feel an openness through your hip and your shoulder. Beautiful. Slowly, slowly, let's bring the hand down and the knee down and the toes tuck. Inhale, lift the head, lift the heart. Exhale as you come up into that downward dog. Coming back down onto all fours, knowing you can continue with that. Again, that adaptability or changing now. This time left leg comes up behind you. Three-legged cat as you inhale. Three-legged dog as you exhale, pushing the hips all the way up and back. Beautiful. With control, inhale, three-legged cat, knowing that you can bring the knees down and work between that cat and dog, or pushing up and back. It's hard on the shoulders, hard on that supporting leg. Adapting, lovely. So this next time we'll all meet with that left leg extended up and back, all from all fours, and we'll straighten that left leg now and have a little circle off through the foot. Beautiful. And lowering down into that downward dog. As you come back down onto all fours, let's widen the knees. Big toes touch or point together. And sitting back towards that little shelf you've made with your heels. Prop yourself up on your elbows for a moment and just cool your wrists there. And then settle down for a few breaths in that wide-legged child pose, or hare pose, it's sometimes called. If you need to support your head on your stacked hands or fists, elbows wide. And again, I kind of like to do that, even though my forehead touches the floor. It's nice, I can breathe a little bit better, but with my elbows wide, I really feel I can just open between my shoulder blades. So sometimes we adapt, not because we can't do a posture, but because those slight adaptations might just serve us a little bit better. So arms outstretched or making that little support. Let's just take a couple of breaths there. And bringing the breath into the back of your body, where our lungs kind of sit more towards the back of the body than I think we're aware. So really using this opportunity to draw the breath into the back of the body. Beautiful. And then we'll keep the knees wide. If you're supporting your head, stretch the arms momentarily out in front of you. Then walk hands back towards your knees. So you're just sitting up on your heels there. We can stay there, or we can change and adapt, shifting the weight forward so you can tuck your toes under. And keeping the heels together, the knees wide, you come up into a little butterfly squat there. So knowing that you can come back down at any time, you might bring one hand and then the other cautiously onto your knees so you can lift your chest and maybe even bring your hands to your heart. Have a little play. If you fall down, no one sees you. That's a good thing. Beautiful. And then we'll bring the hands down in front of you and lifting the hips up, turning the feet forwards, the knees face forwards into a forward fold. Have a little shift of the weight, a little bend in the knees, a shake of the head there. Let it all go. And then keeping the feet where they are, walk your hands forwards back into your downward facing dog. Little bear walk of your hands forwards. Beautiful. Let's reach the right leg up behind you, building our flow. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, let's step that right foot forwards inside of the right hand. Help it out if it doesn't get there. And just hop your left foot out to the left a little bit, broadening your base, because we're going to come straight up into a high lunge this evening. If that doesn't work for you, drop down onto your back knee and just work the arms. So if you're with me in that high lunge, shoulders in line with the hips, we'll reach the arms all the way up towards the ceiling. And just lift away from the floor a little bit. Keep a softness in the knees. And then as you exhale, we'll dip that back knee towards the floor as you sweep the arms back and down. So inhale, we push the floor away. So the legs aren't completely straight, and then we add that little dip, trying to keep the body upright. Beautiful, all the way up. And this next time with control, can you bring that back knee all the way down to the floor and flatten the foot. Sweeping the arms up as you inhale, let's bring the palms to touch. And exhale, let's hook left elbow over right thigh, turning the chest. Keep the gaze down for a moment as you push your palms together. Adaptation is to stack your fists, gives a little bit more height. And then as you try and bring one elbow on top of the other, your thumbs towards your chest, option always to take the gaze up towards the ceiling. Now I find that unbalances me, so I prefer to keep my gaze down, especially if you want to add that last little challenge, which is to tuck the back toes and lift the back knee. So I find it much more stabilizing to keep the gaze down, but choice is yours. Keep pushing into that supporting elbow, turning through the chest. Beautiful. And then as you look down, bring both hands down to frame the front foot, and we'll step back into a plank pose, shoulders over wrists, nice long body, lowering the knees, and extend the chest forwards and down onto the floor, making a little support for your head, elbows wide. I'm going to keep my head lifted just so you can hear me. But just lift one leg up a little bit and imagine someone is pulling the toes back, stretching the leg back before you bring the leg down. And do the same on the other side. So lift the leg, reach the toes away from you. And as you lower that leg, just see if you've created a bit more space through the front of the body and the back of the body. And keeping that sense of space and heaviness through the hips, sliding the elbows underneath your shoulders so your palms and forearms are pressing down into the floor. And let's have a swan neck, the head hanging in sphinx. Just roll the chin from side to side, ear dropping to opposite shoulder. Ooh, keep pressing down into your elbows and your forearms so we're not dipping in the shoulders. Lovely. And then just bringing the chin parallel to the floor, that lovely proud sphinx. A little variation here, a little change. We're going to just lift the forearms up so you can turn your palms up towards the ceiling. And leading with the thumbs, we just slide the forearms away from each other. And then bring one wrist on top of the other. We cross the wrists, drop the chin to the chest, and try and bring your belly button up towards your spine. So you might feel your lower belly lift from the floor. And then inhaling, drop the hips. Take the arms out wide, maybe lift the chin, coming into a little deeper back bend. Exhale, cross the wrists, hug navel up towards spine and chin to chest, stretching out through the neck. Let's do a couple more like that. So we press the hips down, leading with thumbs, and then we bring again those wrists to cross. If you're being super clever, you're crossing the wrists a different way each time, alternating sides. Let's do one more. I wasn't, I'm not that clever. Let's take the thumbs just out to the side, dropping the hips, and then turning the palms down. Let's bring once more, palms down, elbows under shoulders. Option to stay there, pushing the floor away, or very gently begin to peel the forearms up, coming into seal pose without that jamming of shoulders up towards ears or elbows bowing out towards the side. Little squeeze of inner elbows towards one another. That lovely feeling of elongating through the belly. And then slowly, slowly, elbows widen as you lower yourself down. Hands alongside the shoulders to push onto all fours. And from all fours, let's walk your hands back towards your knees. And then see if you can again come into that little squat. Knees together this time. And then pushing the hips up into that forward fold. And again, you can have a little walk out through the feet, a little shake out through the head. And then that bear walk, so you keep the feet where they are, but you walk your hands forwards into that downward dog. And we'll try that little sequence we did with the left leg. So left leg leading this time, sweeping the leg up as you inhale. And as you exhale, let's round the back so you can bring your knee to your chest and then the foot to the inside of that left hand. Help it out if it gets stuck. Pop the feet apart and find your way into that high lunge. You might want to walk your way cautiously up that front thigh. Raising the arms up. Lovely. Push the floor away. A little straightening off through the legs, but keep a softness as you inhale. And exhale, swim the arms down and back and just lower that back knee. So with the breath. So the legs are never entirely straight. As you inhale, we keep a softness. And the body trying not to pitch forwards as you exhale. Last time, all the way up. And this time as you exhale slowly with control, we'll lower, lower, lower that back knee all the way down. Lovely. Flattening the foot, sweeping the arms up as you inhale so the palms can touch. Turning towards the left this time as you bring that elbow across to opposite thigh. So again, that pushing of palms or fists together. Just check that one elbow is more or less stacked on top of the other, shoulders stacked, chest open. I'm going to take my gaze down. I find that much easier for my neck and helps me balance if I want to add that last little bit of lifting the back knee, pushing the heel away from you. And try again, try and lift away from that front thigh. Beautiful. Lovely, lovely. And then slowly, slowly, we'll bring the hands down to frame that front foot. And this time we'll step back into downward facing dog. Lovely. From your downward dog, this time we'll walk your feet to meet your hands. So when we come into that forward fold this time, planting feet just behind your wrist, bend your knees generously so you can catch the elbows and have a little rock side to side. Let the body hang there. Lovely, just shake out your hair. I'm sure it's reached the floor by now. And then letting go of the arms, just roll your way up to stand. Slowly, slowly, keeping the chin tucked in towards your chest. Beautiful, so hopefully you're able to see me standing up. I'm never sure whether I've decapitated myself, but I think you're able to see me. So standing just in mountain for a moment, feet hip width apart. Beautiful, lovely openness through the chest as you roll the shoulders down the back. And keeping the hips and the heart roughly square to the front of the mat. Now step your right leg back into a warrior one, so the toes out. Again, hip width apart there. Really root yourself down through that back heel as you bend that front knee. So you might have to adjust and adapt that posture So you can swing your hips more or less towards the front of the mat. And let's bring the hands to the shoulders, palms facing forwards. And lean the body forwards as you straighten the arms, almost pushing against an invisible resistance. And then straightening that front leg, you bring fists to your elbow, to your shoulders, and the elbows draw back. Lovely. So pushing away, bending the knees, keeping rooted through that back heel. And then drawing elbows back in towards the waist. Lovely. So a couple more of those so you get that lovely spreading of the shoulder blades. And then the opening through the chest. Lovely. So last time. Lovely. So keeping grounded down through that back heel. Let's push the palms forwards. And then turning the palms inwards. See if you can connect your palms. Keep the front knee bent as we rise up into that lovely warrior one. So lifting up through all four sides of the waist there. Just a softening of your ribs towards the back body. I know I always tend to throw my ribs forward, so it's a little softening there. Beautiful. And then we'll bring the hands to the hips. A little bit of power here. So you're going to push off that front foot so you can bring that right knee in towards the chest. And we'll step the right foot over the left. So we're coming into eagle legs. Let me step back so you can see me there. All of that right foot to the floor. Squeeze the inner thighs together. And let's just sink down into that supporting leg. And if you want that full expression of eagle, you can tuck your right foot just behind your left ankle there. I'm going to keep my foot on the floor just for stability. Let's take the arms out level with the shoulders. We've got the right leg on top, so take the left arm up towards the ceiling. And then we'll wrap into that expression of eagle arms we did at the beginning. Left arm on top. So either that full expression of eagle or fingertips to the shoulders, left arm on top. Let's slide the elbows forwards and up. Keep the shoulders away from ears. And then maybe see if we can bring elbows down towards your belly button. Beautiful. And so what are eagles made to do? They're made to fly. So coming all the way up with those elbows. Let's take the arms out nice and wide, level with the shoulders. Lifting that knee to your chest as you inhale. And as you exhale, let's see if we can stretch that leg back into our warrior three. Now you might need to adapt it, bringing that foot down. Let's see if you can just hover there. Adding a little softness to that front knee. Reaching the arms out nice and wide, keeping the gaze down. Beautiful. And then slowly, slowly with control, can you step that back leg down and turn towards the long edge of your mat. Heels in, toes out. So if you've got your back to me, you can always turn around or just listen to my voice. I'll try and make it nice and clear. Press into the little toe edge of your feet as you sink deep into the knees. So we're coming into horse stance. Lovely. I can see all these lovely legs in front of me. So reaching the arms up into that lovely V shape. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, one arm overhead, other arm stretches in front of the belly. There goes a train, you might have heard it. Inhale, let's reach both arms up. So it's like a windmill action, changing sides. It really doesn't matter which arms are moving where. This time let's straighten the legs as you reach up. Beautiful, let's take the heat out of the legs. Bending into the knees as one arm reaches overhead and the other stretches in front of the belly. One more inhale, stretching all the way up and out on the diagonal, lovely star pose. Other arm on top, beautiful. This time we'll reach up on the diagonal, turn the toes to face forwards and we'll swim the hands around, interlacing them just behind the back. Take a nice breath in as you draw the knuckles down. And as you exhale, lead with the chest as you come down over the legs. And if the shoulders are comfortable, you might want to lift the arms up and over. If that's not nice, bring the hands onto the low back. Lovely. You can bring a little movement there. You can shift the weight from side to side, bending one knee and then the other. Take a couple of breaths there. Beautiful. And then slowly, slowly, let's bring the hands down, down, down onto your low back. And then release the fingertips to the floor. And we'll walk the hands forwards, keeping the weight back in your heels so you've got a nice long back. Taking the gaze towards that right hand. As you inhale, let's take that right arm all the way up towards the ceiling. Lovely openness through the chest. And as you exhale, let's bring both hands back down onto the floor, under the shoulders or the face. Other side, so you're looking towards the left hand as you inhale. Lovely. And exhaling down. Let's do just once more. So trying to keep the weight even through the feet. So you're not reaching into the balls of the feet or dropping back too far into the heels. So you're feeling that distribution of weight between the ball of the foot and the back of the foot. Lovely. And when you bring that left hand down, let's take a little turn over that right foot. So you're pivoting on that back foot, so all 10 toes face forwards. And we'll step both feet together, coming to the top of the mat. Lovely. Keep the chin to your chest as you roll, roll, roll your way up to stand. Head comes up last. Just pause there for a moment, turning the palms forward. Let's add that little momentary pause, letting blood pressure adjust before we come into that little sequence with the left leg leading. So as you shift the weight into your right foot this time, it's the left knee that lifts. So the foot, I'm going just to tuck just to the floor. So when I bend the knees, I'm adding that inner squeeze. The inner thighs are squeezing together. If you want to add that full expression, you tuck like a little snake, your foot wrapping serpent-like around that back ankle. I'm going to keep my toes on the floor. So again, I can sink into the knees, take the arms out nice and wide. So we've got the left leg on top. So this time the right arm comes up towards the ceiling. So when we add that cross, we've got right arm hooked on top of left, or fingertips to the shoulders, just as we did at the beginning. Let's slide the elbows forwards and up as you inhale, and exhale, rounding into that little Garudasana, that eagle pose. If you've got your toe on the floor like me, we're squeezing everything towards the midline. We can stay there, or if you're ready to fly like that eagle, we lift the elbows. Take the arms out nice and wide. Bring that left knee to your chest as you inhale. And as you exhale, begin to explore, leaning the body forwards. Keep a softness in that back knee. You might want to bring that foot down. You might want to play lifting and lowering that back leg. Or you might find that full expression, back leg lifted, arms extended, flying that eagle nice and wide. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, we land that back foot and turn to the long edge of the mat. I'm just going to turn around just when facing you, heels in, toes out, back into that horse stance. So squeeze into the little toe edge, so you really feel that your knees are squeezing out towards the little toe, reaching the arms up on the diagonal, inhale. And as you exhale, let's take that lovely windmill. Lovely, once more, inhale. And exhale, lovely. So this time let's come to that lovely open V shape with the arms, and then bring one hand down onto each knee. So a little variation, so knowing that you can stay with that windmill action if that's preferable. So let's drop that right shoulder down towards the floor and take the gaze towards your left foot. And then inhale, lift up. And then the left shoulder drops down and we look towards the right foot. Inhale, lift up. So let's do a couple more each way. So you're trying to push that knee away from you as you drop the shoulder down. Taking the gaze towards the opposite foot to keep the knee nice and safe. Lovely. Let's do one more each way. Lovely one to release into the shoulders. Inhale through center. And exhale. Lovely. This next time, let's all meet in that horse pose. Reaching the arms up on the diagonal, straightening the legs, turning the toes forwards, take an inhale. And as you exhale, swim the hands all the way back behind you. Roll the shoulders, interlace the hands, inhale. We take that little forward fold as you exhale. Again, arms might lift away from the back. You might want that little shift of the weight. You might want to bring your fingertips down to the floor, straight away for additional support. Again, let's be adaptable here. So if you're with me with the arms lifted, let's all meet just by bringing your hands to the back and then once more fingertips to floor, walking them forward so we've got that lovely long back. So this time, when you bring your gaze to your right hand, let's take the right arm all the way up. And this time, back of the hand comes onto the low back, or you might even find the top of that left thigh. Really push into that supporting hand so you can spin your chest over towards the right. Maybe take the gaze down if that's a little bit too much on the neck today. Lovely. And then reaching that right arm all the way back up and then lowering the hands down, just checking that again you've got the weight even between your feet before we change sides. Left arm swoops up. And then again, we just wrap that hand either to your sacrum, or you might even find the top of that right thigh so you can spin your chest up towards the ceiling, pushing the floor away, turning the chest. Beautiful, beautiful. And then slowly, slowly, let's release the arm. Bring both hands down. And take a little walk over the left foot this time. So whichever way, it really doesn't matter. Because all we're going to do from there is step back into a downward dog. Lovely. And from your downward dog, we'll come into pigeon pose. So left foot to the middle of the mat, and take the right leg all the way up and back. And as you shift the weight forwards, bringing that knee to your chest, you'll settle that right knee behind your right wrist and just slide that left leg back. Now, if pigeon pose doesn't work for you, you can lie down on your back, right ankle over left knee, and just bring that right shin in towards your chest and have a little massage out through the back. If you're with me in pigeon, let's take a moment to adjust the hips. You're trying to drop that left hip forwards. Coming up onto fingertips, you can inhale and lift the chest. And as you exhale, just soften the elbows and stretch the chest and the belly forwards. So inhale, come up with that swan neck. Allow the heads to hang as you lift the chest as you inhale. And stretching and elongating forwards and down as you exhale. Last time, inhale. So as you exhale, either just softening there in proud pigeon with the chest lifted, or coming into that full expression of pigeon, maybe coming onto forearms, maybe stretching the arms out, maybe adding that little hybrid, making that support for your head with the elbows wide as you did in child pose. And I find if I've got my chest lifted, my fingertips on the floor, I get more of a stretch, it's more energizing. Whereas if I release forwards, that's a bit more restorative. So again, adapting the posture to really where the body wants to be today. And allow the body a moment just to soften into that pose. It's one of those Marmite poses, pigeon, isn't it? We kind of love it or hate it. Just see if we can just put those feelings aside, if it tends to be on the dislike stage, and just make sure that tension hasn't crept into your face or your shoulders. Just feel my shoulders were creeping up around my ears there. And then if you have your arms stretched out in front of you, just walk your hands back towards you so your chest is lifted. Now we've got the right knee forward. So let's drop down onto your left forearm, bringing it parallel to the top of the mat. Left hand holds onto that right knee. Just going to draw against that right knee and take the right arm all the way up towards the ceiling in twisted pigeon. And then again, see if we can wrap that hand around the low back. So keep just pulling against that right knee. Gaze might be up towards the ceiling. That might be enough, or if you want one final challenge, we bring that back heel towards your bottom, and you might be able to reach back and take hold around your foot. Now that's a deep quad stretch, so you can always bring the foot down and bring that hand onto the low back at any time. Keep pushing into that left forearm, keep drawing against that right knee so we're not collapsed in the upper body. If you're holding the foot very gently, it's like it's on a piece of elastic, so don't let it ping down. Slowly with control, bring it down, walk yourself up onto your hands. Let's tuck that back toe under, lift the knee, push into the hands so you can hover that right knee up and step back into your downward dog. If you're on your back, so you're just going to change legs, so this time left ankle over right knee. If you're with me in downward dog, this time left leg lifts up and back. And we bring that left knee just behind your left wrist so the shin is diagonally placed. Tenderly lay it down. And take a moment to slide that right leg back. On one side might need a little bit of refinement there. This is my much stiffer side there. So coming up onto the fingertips when we've found that position where the hips are more or less facing forwards, take an inhale. Exhale, we stretch the body forwards and down. And then the head hangs, that swan neck as you gracefully rise up as you inhale. Exhale, elongate forwards and down, lovely. Once more, inhale, push the floor away. And either staying there, just in that king pigeon, or that last exhale just carries you down onto your forearms, or stretching the arms out, forehead to floor, or making that little support for your head. Again, just having a play between the energizing qualities of king pigeon with the chest lifted to that more restorative sleepy pigeon with the belly and the chest stretched forwards towards the top of the mat. Just notice those subtle differences between one side or the other. This side for me is much stiffer. Lovely. And then if you're in that lovely sleepy pigeon with the arms extended, let's just walk the hands back towards you so you're lifting up through the chest. So this time we've got the left knee forward, so it's the opposite arm. Right forearm drops down so we can hold on to that left knee. And just push into that forearm, a little bit of pulling against that left knee so you can reach the left arm up and then wrapping it around the low back. So you're pushing the floor away, you're pushing down into that supporting forearm so we're not collapsed in the underneath shoulder. And just using that left knee to turn the chest round. An option again to bring that right heel into your bottom and see if you can take hold around the foot, rolling that top shoulder up. So you're getting a quad stretch. Lovely, not forgetting to keep pushing into the floor. Beautiful. And then slowly, slowly again, with control, release that foot. Let's come up onto our hands, lifting the chest, and just roll onto that left bottom so you can sweep that right leg out in front of you and then the left. So both legs out in front of you, give them a little shake. Keep a softness at the knees now. As you inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. And as you exhale, let's come into a little forward bend so the hands land wherever that feels comfortable. Alongside the thighs, the shins. Some of you might be able to take hold around the toes, but that's not the object of the exercise. The object is to elongate through the spine. Soften the chin down towards your chest and allow the body to yield forwards. Maybe a little shake out through the knees. And if you are holding around the tops of your feet, make sure you're not pulling on your feet. That there's a sense of just using that as a gentle tool to ease the body forwards, up and out of the hips. You might even want to just walk your hips back slightly once you're in that posture. So you don't need to adjust your upper body. You can just walk your hips back so you're just finding some more space for the low back. A couple of easy breaths there. And then if you're holding on around your feet, just allow your hands just to drop down to the floor alongside each leg and rolling your way up, sliding the hands back towards you. So you're bringing your chest up, shoulders above hips. Let's bend the knees, easing your way down onto your backs, just where we started. But this time we'll take the feet nice and wide and the arms out level with the shoulders, turning again, the palms up towards the ceiling, that little pressing of the thumb edge of the hand down, adjusting those shoulder blades, sliding them down away from your ears. So with the feet nice and wide, let's just tip the knees over to the right hand side. And as you come into that wide legged twist, if that's pulling on the knees, just walk your feet a little closer together. Allow just gravity in the weight of the legs to draw the knees down toward the floor. We can adapt by turning the head to look over that left arm. We can add one more adaptation if we want more, is to pick up that right foot and place it on top of the left knee. And then just allow that right knee to relax down towards the floor. So you're using the added weight of that lever just to explore a little bit more rotation, a little bit of stretch in the outer left hip, if that works for you. Let's just take a couple of nice, easy breaths there. And then if you have that foot placed on top of the knee, release the foot to the floor. So both knees come back up towards the ceiling as the head comes back through center. And let's keep the gaze central as you just tip the knees over to the opposite side. Again, you can slide your feet a little closer together if that pulls on the knees or the hips. We can turn the gaze, picking up the head to look over that right arm. And again, if you want more, this time it's the left foot on top of right knee. And try and relax that left knee down towards the floor. So again, we're using that added weight just to find a little bit more space in the top of that right hip. Never at the expense, though, of keeping the chest open. And the shoulder blades just gently dropping down in towards the mat. Easy breaths now. And very slowly release that left foot to the floor. Let's come all the way back up to center with the gaze, with the knees. Just walk your feet a little closer together so you can give your knees one final squeeze. Maybe rounding up into that little ball. Maybe keeping the head down and just rocking side to side. Just doing whatever you need just to release any tension from the back and the hips after that twist. And then as you come into that final posture of Shavasana, just for a few moments, you might want to keep your feet on the floor, walk them wide apart and just allow your knees to touch together. Or if you're coming to that full expression of Shavasana with the legs extended out long, just flop the toes in and out a couple of times. And then allow them just to flop out to the side so your hips feel nice and open. Arms alongside you or hand on the belly and the chest. Take a moment again to make any of those adjustments. I always want to kind of snuggle my shoulder blades a little bit closer in towards one another, tucking them in so I can feel that breadth across my chest. You might want to pick up your head and very gently bring the chin down towards your chest before you just bring the back of your head down onto the mat so you've elongated and opened up through the neck. Closing the eyes and just allowing the body a moment to drop out of whatever plans you might have for the coming rest of the week, coming few days, rest of the month, and just focus instead on using that breath just to anchor you into the present. Now is a lovely quote from Darwin, who said, "The most important factor in survival is neither intelligence nor strength, but adaptability." Adaptability. So in these changing times, just letting go of that thought we have that we can plan everything. And just surrendering to that sense that we need just to ride the waves of change. We need to adapt. Malleability. Yoga is one of those great tools which helps us stay rooted in the present, gives us that breathing space to take stock and adapt to those changing circumstances that lie ahead of us. So we can ride those waves of change with confidence and a sense of equanimity. Softening your face as the breath begins to deepen and lengthen. So many of us are hardwired to plan every time that the mind wants to kind of go back into that forward planning. Just root it back with the breath, draw it gently back. Watching the breath, that conscious breath being your anchor in these turbulent seas of change. Slowly beginning to deepen and lengthen the breath now. A little movement in your fingers and your toes. If your knees are bent, you might want to slowly unfurl into that full body stretch. If the legs are outstretched already, you can maybe one final time take the arms back on that lovely expansive V shape. So we keep the softness now. As we've released, we don't want to bring tension back. So let's keep that lovely openness through the arms and the chest as you breathe into the space behind you and above you. And then we'll take our time to just gather the knees one last time in towards your chest. And whether there's space to the right or the left of you, just roll into that space, rolling onto one side. And taking your time just to join me in your choice of comfortable seated position, adapting according to hips and knees, cross-legged, legs outstretched. Just somewhere where you can find that nice stability through your seat and the length through the spine. And we'll bring the hands just into that final gesture of Anjali Mudra and lift your breastbone to meet your thumbs so you feel that lengthening up through the front of the body as a softening of the shoulders. The chin dropping down gently towards your fingertips. And reminding ourselves that we can't stop the waves, but we can learn how to surf. And namaste. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Let me unmute you for a minute.